Working smarter is always better than working harder. We're going to look at some science and technology that's helping us to make that happen. Plus, a workforce development center, a People's Choice Award-winning business, and more on this edition of Connected Colorado. Hi everyone, I'm Wendy Brockman. We are here at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder. Some amazing science and innovation going on here, and it is housed in a spectacular building. We're going to have more in a moment. But first, Aurora Sports Park is huge. It gets more than 500,000 visitors a year, so employees are constantly busy. But thanks to some new technology, their lives are getting a little easier.
Tournament after tournament. Softball, soccer, lacrosse, frisbee, lacrosse, soccer, frisbee, softball, frisbee, lacrosse, softball, soccer. So much going on at the Aurora Sports Park, it's gonna make your head spin. And of course, each new tournament in town means the fields are always changing.
In years past, we would turn down tournaments or turn down events. We just didn't have the time to flip fields. It's a lot of pulling tape, it's a lot of measurement, a lot of math, it's a lot of calculations to make sure, everything's squared off and that we're not gonna get to the last field and be off a little bit. A lot of walking. The guys are up and down these, 11-acre platforms back and forth all day.
But now they have a saving grace that looks like it came from outer space. Meet the Turf Tank, a field marking robot that will save the sports park crew hours of time.
It takes 3 guys 3 weeks to do layouts and painting for every national major tournament we do, and then fall and spring leagues. So we were trying to figure out ways to save labor. We can paint all the fields in 4 days with 1 guy instead of 3 weeks with 3 guys.
Once programmed, you can set it and forget it with this precise robot.
Use about half as much paint.
The time saved will allow crew members to work on other portions of the sports park.
Park's going to improve aesthetically because more time to trim trees, pull weeds, maintain shrub bed. Playability, the user groups that come out here get a better product.
And a better sports park means tournaments and crowds will keep coming
$11
to Aurora.
The Aurora Sports Park says the cost of the robot will pay for itself in labor savings alone in about 18 months. Joining me now, I'm so excited, is Tim Barnes with the National Center for Atmospheric Research. Thanks for having us.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, so what happens here?
Well, this is a place where researchers from all over the world come together to understand the basics of weather, climate, solar science, and the particulate that's in the atmosphere and what it does in the chemicals. And then they create ways of understanding those bits and pieces and then call all of their colleagues around the world, convene everybody together to have discussions about what is the best science about these different aspects, and then we make it better.
So give us an example, like a practical application from the research.
Forecasting, weather forecasting. So a lot of people might say you can't actually forecast the weather. The real answer is yes, we can.
Yeah.
We have to figure out mathematically, with all the data we have, what is the highest likelihood of getting the temperature right? And we've got that down to at least 10 days, temperature-wise. The rest we're still working on, but we'll get those.
So what are some of your favorite projects that have come out of this?
So one of my favorite projects right now it's called the Community Climate Intervention Strategies Group. Everybody knows the climate's changing. Well, I think everybody knows the climate of the Earth is changing, and there are some thoughts about interfering in the Earth's climate system. So the scientists are like, wait, before you do that, let's talk about how that may impact the normal climate, and then we do this work with. Everybody's gonna, I think, really appreciate the fact that we have gotten inside of fire weather, meaning we go out when it's safe, when we're allowed, and collect data right in fire events. We have the premier model of fires and how they interface with the local weather. And then we are preparing the best guidance around fire weather. How do you mitigate it? How do you maybe deal with it while it's going on? And what's the likelihood of that changing in the future? Because not everything is straightforward, but we're right inside of that.
Well, that has particular relevance here in Colorado
Absolutely.
and in Boulder County after the Marshall Fire, for sure. So as part of your role here, you get to work with a lot of kids and school groups.
Yes.
How is that?
Well, it's probably the highlight of my life is working with children because they ask questions that, interestingly enough, even the scientists can't answer sometimes.
Yeah.
And they ask questions that the scientists are asking themselves that most adults wouldn't think of. So I get to learn from the children more about what the scientists are doing. I get to talk to the scientists and share with them what the children have asked. It's this communication piece, it's fantastic. And the children are really, really super excited about understanding more of what's going on around them. And that's something as simple as clouds, rain, tornadoes, the sun, and what's actually inside of snow or hailstones. So it's super exciting working with children.
You had to, close down the facility to the public because of COVID, but you have created all of these virtual worlds for kids to be part of. So you're still able to share what you're doing in really creative ways.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the example of taking the technology that exists and figuring out how we can use it better. So we have a 360-degree camera, we have fantastic miking, and then the brilliant minds behind what we have available for the public make it feel like you're here. You get to see these exhibits. Sometimes I am actually there with the children who are experiencing and the adults, and I get to help them understand what it is they're seeing if they have questions. It's almost like we're actually here because it's very, very unique and I think informative.
Tell me about some of the exhibits.
So we have a tornado, yes. We actually have tornado right here in the building. It's mist, and it's designed to spin just like a vortex or a tornado, and it's here all the time. So you can come in for free and experiment with a safe tornado, because real ones are not safe. We also have a sea of clouds, and same thing, you get to experience what it's like to be inside of a cloud and move it around and experiment with it, and you get to see different kinds of clouds. And then there's a lot about the sun that people don't understand, so in our Sun-Earth Connections area, you'll find out more about the sun. And last is different types of technology. I'm sure people have heard of lasers and drones, but how about a dropson? That is a weather robot. And that's what helps hurricane forecasters improve their forecasts at the National Hurricane Center in Miami. We created it, and we improve upon it constantly. You can actually see one of these little robots right here, see all the parts and pieces inside, and it's single-handedly improving safety and outcomes from events like hurricanes. You get to see that technology, and there's even more.
And another one of your exhibits is sounding climate.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So one of our scientists is a vocalist, and she's one of the premier scientists in the world in regards to what climate is and how it's changing. So she worked with a genius who managed to take massive amounts of data and put them onto a visual screen, but that screen is alive. We've assigned musical instruments to those data types so that you can run your finger around and you'll hear all of the different instruments playing, or you can hear just one of the instruments and how it changes over the planet. You can pick different locations on the world.
Okay.
Yeah, and it starts in 1920, so we can make sure it's not making this up, so we can verify that kind of happened in 1920, but it goes all the way up to the year 2100. So you have this whole suite of what the scientists know, because the more people who investigate with us, the better we understand it. We realize that this is a complex question. So this is a way for anybody who visits NCAR, and if you go online, you can also see it. This is a way for you to do your own research. And you don't have to use numbers. You can just look at it and hear it.
Well, tell me a little bit about this amazing space, the building itself.
It's an energy that is unique. I think anybody who comes in kind of feels it all of us as soon as they arrive. I.M. Pei, who's a world famous architect, if you've ever heard of the Louvre, there's a glass pyramid entrance over the Louvre. That was I.M. Pei. Mr. Pei cut his teeth here. Working with the founder of NCAR, he created a magical space. And I'm gonna say magical in that the energy here, because of the way he designed it, is just wonderful. If you like architecture, come. If you like science, come. If you like just hanging out, come. It actually interfaces with the outdoors as well, where you can go hiking and you can come inside. It's very open and I think kind of rejuvenating to be here.
So hopefully people will be able to come back here and be in the building itself.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, we're chomping at the bit to get the doors open, and as soon as we have everything set up, yeah, we'll definitely be open.
You've turned on your indoor tornado?
Yes.
Let's go take a look.
All right,
This
here we
is
go.
so cool. What are we seeing?
What you're seeing is mist. That is the same thing that makes up clouds outside, except for we're making it with a humidifier down below, And these holes spread that mist out, and then the poles actually have holes in them with air blowing out that organizes the mist into forming a tornado, just like a tornado exists outside, except we made it artificially, but it's the same structure. So you can put your hand in there safely and find out what it would be like to be inside of a tornado.
You were saying that kind of chaotic nature of it is what makes it so hard to predict.
Absolutely, and that's authentic. In the real atmosphere, chaos rules. And that's why it's so challenging to be able to predict tornadoes, but we'll get it done. We just have to look at enough chaos in order to find the patterns that precede a tornado. Right now we can predict them 20 minutes in advance, but we'd like to get that back to 2 hours in advance.
Right.
So that's a lot of computer power and a lot of observing, but we'll get it done.
Tim, thank you so much for having us here today. This has been fascinating.
Well, I'm so glad you came, and I'm looking forward to having all our visitors back.
As we learned, the study of weather is big at NCAR. You can see what it's like to actually live inside a cloud. Well, the city of Arvada's Parks Department actually has their own weather stations, and that saves time and money in determining the irrigation needs across 104 parks and 2 golf courses.
Talk about gadgets that save time and money. These weather stations help determine irrigation needs across Arvada's parks, all 104 of them. They can shut down or limit sprinklers if it rains. Arvada got them in 2020. It's part of our smart city approach. And they've been a huge help to parks employees.
Prior to the weather stations, if it rained, we had 2 guys that would get up in the middle of the night, would sense that it's raining, and they would shut down our irrigation systems.
So the stations save employee time and precious water. They provide tons of data about weather conditions over time. It all goes into a computer system. The data can also be read on employees' phones and iPads.
It can take all that data and it can do whatever we want it to do, basically. So we can set this thing up so it's fully automated, and we say if we get this amount of water, as soon as you detect that in a 24-hour period, you shut everything down, and it will shut every system down. We can also set it up to where it turns certain systems to 50% or 75%, so it can vary by site. So if we know we're up on top of a hill and we need more water, we can drop it down to 75%, whereas another park that's lower in the valley may drop to 50%.
Arvada currently has 2 weather stations for the parks and another over at Westwoods Golf Course.
Irrigation is incredibly important to keep the turf healthy on golf courses. We're in a semi-arid climate. We get less than 14 inches of rainfall a year. So what evaporates and what the plants use every day is much more than the rainfall that we get, so we need to supplement it with irrigation. We're able to control it from inside the shop there at a central computer, and we can run basically all 350 acres worth of irrigation. It's just over 3,000 heads that we control here. The amount of inches of water that has been lost in the last 24 hours, so this is saying that we lost 0.2 of an inch of water in the last 24 hours.
The data helps parks employees adjust watering schedules for different parts of the golf course as needed.
The golf course is not flat, and there's greens, there's tees, there's rough. Everything needs to be irrigated in different amounts, and that is consistent. It's very consistent in its analysis. I don't want to say it's right every day, but it's very close. It's much closer, and it takes that human element of error out of it.
And keeps Arvada's parks and golf courses looking good while saving money and water.
Love seeing that technology in Arvada. Now, sometimes working smarter, not harder, can mean working out. And the FIT theorem in North Glen was the People's Choice winner among businesses in that city.
My name is Monica. I am the general manager and owner of FIT Theorem here in North Glen. And we have been open now for 5.5 years. So here at FIT Theorem, our philosophy revolves around 3 things. So it revolves around fitness, it revolves around mindset, which is also accountability for us, and nutrition. So those are kind of our 3 pillars that allow us to make the most impact in this community.
I love the classes, I like the kickboxing, the group of people that are here. I've made a ton of friends, and it's just an outlet for those stressful days, those sad days, and those anxiety days.
So a lot of the challenges that people have when they come into the studio often revolves around their ability to believe that they can be successful. A lot of times people come in and they've tried so many different things and they've just been unsuccessful each time. So that creates a lot of self-doubt and a lack of belief in their ability to become successful.
The first day, everybody makes you feel so welcomed and like family. They slow down, they teach you, you can go at your own pace.
So COVID really impacted our business. I'd like to call it bittersweet. Bitter because there was a lot of loss in momentum, loss in profitability, operations, things like that. But it was sweet because it really forced us to get creative. So doing things like taking our programming virtual to the point where we were offering 25 online classes a week to keep our members on track. We were fortunate enough to be recipients of grant money through the city of North Glen, so very grateful for that. And that really helped us to keep our team members moving forward, keeping everything on track. North Glen has been an amazing place to do business, and also the community has just been wonderful. We've been able to support the community in several different ways. One is being part of the HEAL committee, and this has been something we've been a part of now for several years. And being consistent with our thoughts, our ideas, and being able to help the city move forward with creating access to healthy eating and active living. I am so grateful for being a recipient of the People's Choice Award. To be able to change people's lives, one, as we like to say, jab cross at a time, we get to do that. So that in turn means that their day's better and they've hopefully made someone else's day better, and we really get to touch more people and support our community. We do this because we love it. And at the end of the day, you gotta love what you do.
That's why they got the People's Choice Award. All right, back to weather. You've heard about wind shear at airports. It's from a microburst. They actually did research in Denver to help pilots train to avoid the microburst. And here's why you want to do that. This is what happens in the atmosphere. The plane gets the headwind and then it gets the tailwind, and that's not good. That's what they want to avoid. Now, the Broomfield Workforce Center is also helping people to improve their lives.
This is the Broomfield Workforce Center.
It's so important to a community to know that a workforce center is available to anyone to provide resources to employers, job seekers, anyone that's looking to reskill, upskill, next skill.
Just about anything it would take to find employment or change careers, the Career Services team is here to help you.
Access to equipment such as computers, copy machine, and adaptive equipment for those with disabilities for their work, from their resumes to the cover letter to the thank you letter.
We offer programs for veterans, displaced homemakers, people that are struggling to find their very first job.
With the Broomfield Workforce Center, it was a hand up. They pulled me up and they helped me achieve something that I thought I couldn't achieve.
Thank you to the Broomfield Workforce Center, who has helped me make my life so much happier and so much better.
If you have a desire to increase skills, change careers, or even get back into the job force, they gave me the confidence to make a change and made it possible for me.
The work that we do is a fundamental key to this community, and we want to be key to this community in helping individuals to obtain their jobs and maintain employment.
Being able to help people realize their potential, reach that potential, when we can make someone successful or help them get over a rough spot, that's what makes us happy and gives us purpose.
Great work in Broomfield. This is the sounding climate that Tim was talking about. Of course, if you want a career in science or technology, education is the key. But if you're a student who doesn't even have basic necessities, that can be really hard. Thankfully, Brighton's 27J schools have a resource center and a very dedicated employee who are making a difference.
For Desiree Quintanilla, helping families in need has been a calling.
It's really important for us to be able to offer these services and resources to Brighton families.
Quintanilla is the Intervention Services Coordinator for the 27J School District.
Out of our office in the school district, we serve all families that are identified as homeless. And that's a pretty large definition. because families that are even doubled up with family or friends are considered homeless under the McKinney-Vento Act.
When the coronavirus pandemic started, Quinceanilla and her team started working out of their offices to help support as many 27J families as they could.
We recognized that the amount of time and effort that we put into that was not going to be available when we went back to school.
This is when Quinceanilla was offered some space to help bring the Family Resource Center to life at the Bob Sakata Education Campus. The newly remodeled campus is named after Bob Sakata, whose father traveled from a small village in Japan to the United States at the age of 18. Sakata took the lessons he had learned from his father and applied them to the agriculture community right here in Brighton.
I think it's a way we stay connected with our families and we communicate how much we care about them.
Several partners throughout the community work with the Family Resource Center. This helps the center be able to provide more resources to the families that they serve.
The first one is Food for Hope, and they do our food pantry. They're able to offer our families fresh fruits and other non-perishables, milk, egg, and meat.
Another partner of the center is A Precious Child. They are the main providers of the center's clothing outlet. Families are able to pick out clothing items from the outlet 3 times per year.
We also partner with another agency called Sparkling Kindness. They're a little bit smaller, but they are mighty. They do a lot of great things in our community, and we're just lucky to have them doing our hygiene supplies.
For families to be able to utilize the center, they must have a child enrolled in a 27J school.
Families can get referred directly from their school. They can talk to anybody in their counseling office. They can talk to anybody in the office.
But once a family is enrolled, the center serves everyone within the family. So if a parent or a younger sibling needs clothes or food, those family members are able to get access to those needs as well.
But they can also show up here in person any day that we're open. Right now, that's Mondays and Thursdays from 3 until 5.
Quinceanilla is currently in the process of expanding what resources are available at the center, and she would like input from the families they serve.
Is it expanding the food? Is it creating a center for tutoring, maybe parenting classes? We're not sure, but we're going to spend this next semester trying to figure out what those needs are so we grow in a way that's going to meet the needs of the community.
She is hoping to add a donation program so community members can help those in need in their own backyard. In the end, Quinceanilla says helping the community through a hard time fills her with joy.
It's just really great to be able to have something available for families that are really in need, and they're all so gracious and happy when they're walking out with a wagon full of food or a bag full of clothes.
For more information about the Family Resource Center, contact Star Trujillo at 720-204-8106 or strujillo at sd27j.net.
Love that, making a difference in Brighton. Well, workers need a place to work, right? Well, the Wheat Ridge Business District is sprucing up its city one building at a time.
The Wheat Ridge Business District is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that offers matching funds to commercial businesses in order to improve the appearance of individual buildings as well as the overall look of the city.
This building houses Helly Mae's Caramels, which is my candy business. We're an artisan caramel manufacturer. 3 years ago, Helly Mae's Caramels participated in the Wheat Ridge Business District's Facade Plus programs. Facade Plus is really for making a big, splashy improvement to your property. Like a lot of businesses, we got hit hard by a hailstorm a few years ago. And when I looked at the insurance reimbursement we were going to be able to spend to rehab our building, I thought, I'd really like to put in some of our own money and not just restore the building to what it looked like before, but make it appreciably and markedly better. That's where the Wheat Ridge Business District Facade Plus program came in. So we applied for and received a $20,000 Facade Plus grant. When we combined that with our personal funds and the insurance reimbursement, we were able to do 6 figures worth of work on this building that would have been really hard for us to achieve without that closing of the gap of that last $20,000. And that's what we did here, and I couldn't be happier with the results.
I'm Heidi at Swiss Flower Shop, and I have had Swiss Flower Shop for now 32 years. The original shop is 52 years here in Wheat Ridge. Lots of home decor, gifts, and of course flowers. Wheat Ridge Business District has several grants, one of which is the mural grant, which I was able to take advantage of. It offers $2,500 towards a mural. The business owner can apply $500 towards that mural grant. It gives you a nice chunk of money to put a beautiful piece of art on your building and something for the community to enjoy. I found Alexandra Pangburn that is just an amazing artist, and we designed something that would incorporate a look that would have both flowers and the wildlife. I think it turned out to be just the finishing touch to my urban chalet. It added that element of just wow that you can see from blocks away. People come now just to see the mural.
The purpose of these grants are for improvements that are in the public right-of-way that are visible to the community. What we're trying to do is to leverage these dollars to create programs that are affordable, creative, and that are certainly community-minded. The Wheat Ridge Business District offers matching grants in these following categories: up to $3,750 for sign improvements, up to $6,000 for conversion of a pole sign to a monument sign, up to $7,500 for facade improvements, up to $2,500 for architectural or design assistance, up to $6,000 toward a completed accessibility project, up to $3,000 towards a visual impact special project that increases curb appeal, up to $900 for a landscaping project, and up to $600 for exterior painting projects and supplies.
When people think about economic development, a lot of times they think about big companies. But when you look at where the majority of job creation happens and the majority of economic activity in the U.S., it's small businesses. Small businesses are the engines that drive job growth and that drive economic growth, and so it's important to have that in Wheat Ridge.
It's people, individuals or families that have committed themselves to providing a service or a product to a community that has a family, a history, besides just a phone number or a website.
To get that grant from the Wheat Ridge Business District and use that facade plus money to close that gap meant the world to me, because it means that this building looks beautiful. And I think it just adds to the whole way that 44th Avenue looks. I'm proud that we're here, but also it makes me and my employees feel a sense of pride when we come into the building. Like, I love coming to work here. It actually makes my heart really happy.
They are with you on your projects, whether it's a mural or a paint grant. There's several grants available, and it's something that as a business in Wheat Ridge, one should look into.
You know, there are a number of organizations that work in Wheat Ridge to try to do everything that we can to make Wheat Ridge the best place to live, to work, to own a business that we can be. And I think that the Wheat Ridge Business District is a very meaningful part of that, because a grant program is real dollars. It's a real incentive to help. I don't have to pay for every single cent myself. I can think a little bit bigger. I have more room in my budget, and I can do something that will look better. So I like that we can be part of making Wheat Ridge feel to people visiting the way it feels to me.
For more information, contact the Wheat Ridge Business District to discuss your project and schedule a meeting or site visit before you begin your project. wrbusinessdistrict.org.
Another big thank you to NCAR in Boulder for having us. Be sure to check out their virtual tours and programs online. We'll see you next time on Connected Colorado. Working smarter, way better than working harder. We're going to look at some technology to help make work easier, plus some amazing science and innovations at the National Center for Atmospheric Research, and more on the next edition of Connected Colorado.